right, it is 6:53. Call us to order. Is there something? Do I get a gavel?
I'll get you an axe.
I think they stole it when they broke into Ridgeville.
Yeah. Did somebody break into Ridgeville?
Oh,
No.
Oh,
making a bad joke.
it was a good joke. It would have been a bad fact. I'll get you a gavel. One of those great big plastic inflated ones.
With a little squeaky.
Yeah. You've
be
seen
great.
them. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go by the agenda.
Citizen comments.
Go by the agenda.
We
First,
do have.
We got to reflect. It needs to indicate who's here.
Oh, thank you.
We got to go do the roll call.
Do I just go through people's names and they say that they're here?
Well, yeah, I just go down the list of the committee members, and the people who are here will say so, and then then that'll be on the record.
Okay.
Who's present and who's
Right. Right.
Okay, I'm trying to go into the participants. It's open over there. Okay. Natalie Salee.
Present.
Debbie Braun.
here? Present.
Elaine Siegel.
Here.
Martha Gaines.
Present.
And myself, JC Herman. I am here. Okay, first, citizen comments. I do see that we have someone whose name is not familiar to me. If you are interested in speaking or throwing something in the chat, you are welcome.
Who are you, AC?
All right, well, there'll be another opportunity for, oh, do we do one at the
No,
end
we
too?
only do one.
We only do one, that's right. This, so this is the only opportunity for citizen comments, just so you know.
And AC, you're muted. If you wanted to be saying something, you need to unmute.
They might want to stay anonymous.
That's fine, I just want to make sure.
Of course, that's fine.
Sorry, I just noticed you unmuted in case, to give you some space. Okay. First order of business is approving the minutes from January 21st.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from January 21st.
I'll second it. Natalie Salee.
Oh, I'm sorry, Debbie Braun.
And then how do I respond to that?
Then you ask if there's any discussion.
Is there any discussion? I need my cheat sheet.
I know.
You're doing great.
You are doing great.
There are many things in life I'm more skilled at than Robert's rules, just for the record.
Regarding the minutes, was that included in when you sent out the agenda, or where are the minutes? Is that like in our running Google Doc, or? I think it was Aiden who took them last time. Is that right?
I think she sent out a separate email.
She did send out an email with the minutes.
I think JC didn't you?
I believe I did. But let me make sure it went out to all of you and not just to Natalie, because that may have been a thing I did.
We should if we haven't all seen it, I didn't get it.
You didn't get it? Okay.
That doesn't mean it wasn't there, but sometimes the different emails get tangled up if I'm looking on my phone as opposed to my laptop. And so it may have been there and I may have missed it.
Well, I know what you mean if you mean like when it's all in one thread, and sometimes things can kind of like get buried if multiple people are responding before you even see the emails. That happens to me. But I don't, if you're saying it was,
I don't think they went out.
I don't think they did. I think I sent it just to Natalie.
Okay, so we'll have to table that, and we'll just approve them next meeting. It's not.
Well, then that's true for all three. Aren't there 3 minutes that were spoken? No.
I think we're just going to start the minutes from the first public meeting.
Oh, okay.
Last one.
That makes sense.
JC, I'll send it to everybody because I renamed it as draft notes.
Okay.
Opposed to the agenda, so I'll just send that to everybody real fast.
Okay.
And Natalie, you're talking about the Google Doc?
No, it's a PDF.
Oh, it's a PDF. Okay. I was gonna say, I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but with a Google Doc and if you're gonna turn some sort of Word document into a PDF, I suppose we could do this too. But it might be nice to have sort of a running thing of minutes as opposed to each one is individual, because it's like separate documents we have to open if we want to go back in time and like reference something? Do you have any idea?
I'm also posting them on the website.
Okay, and will they be like PDFs that you can click from the website, or will they be actually like okay?
No,
Okay.
everything will be PDF.
Okay.
Like the minutes that you can get from the board meetings, right?
Yeah, Iden does them in a different format than what you're used to seeing in board meetings, which is fine. She just uses the agenda and then types in the notes.
Oh, yeah.
Each of the points. So it'll look different, but it's all PDF and it will all be available on the website as soon as we pass them. So
Okay.
had we passed the minutes tonight from last time, then I would immediately put them on the website.
Okay. So they're not on the website until they're passed. So we need to see them before the meeting. So where do we see them?
I'm going to email them to you right now.
Got it. All right. You know, I'm terrible with this stuff.
Do we need to make a motion to table, or are we just going?
No, she's going to send us the minutes right now.
Oh, you're sending them right now, Natalie.
I'm literally sending them to you as we speak.
Okay, do we want to take meeting time to review them as we sit here, or do we want to just wait until next meeting?
We can wait till next meeting. I'm just sending them now because I will forget to do it.
I'd rather wait till the next meeting to make sure everyone gets a good look at them.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
as well.
All right, so
Sounds good.
can I move to table them? Am I allowed to do that?
You are, yeah.
I move to table the approval of the meeting minutes for January 21st, 2021.
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion?
And technically speaking, we may have to actually remove the initial motion of approving the minutes. Is that correct, Natalie? I think we do have to remove a motion if we're not gonna vote on the motion.
I don't know. I don't know if you remove it, or does it have to be kept in the record because a motion was made?
I don't mean that we remove it from the record. I mean that the motion has to be removed from the floor.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Elaine, is that your understanding as well? If we're moving to table something instead and it's already been moved on, do we have to?
Well, if we're tabling, no, I don't know the answer to that, but if we're tabling it, I believe that we have to, since it's already come up, I believe that we do have to move to table it. I can't say that I'm much of a parliamentarian.
So
Right.
that becomes part of the discussion then.
Yeah, because I mean, I would, if we were to put the minutes to a vote, I would abstain. I haven't had a chance to look at it.
I think for sure we need to table it. The question is whether we need to remove the motion to approve them, since those motions were
Withdraw
made.
the motion.
Withdraw the motion.
Withdraw.
I think that the move can withdraw.
Okay, I'll withdraw the motion because
Okay.
I made it, right? So I withdraw.
Yeah,
it.
you're the mover. So
Okay. Get it out of there. All right.
Okay, and then, this is good practice because we do have to follow these rules. So somebody can now make a motion to, well, I guess we'll go with JC having made the motion to table
Table it.
after, in terms of the minutes I'm taking. That's happening after Debbie's withdrawing.
I'll second JC's motion to table. Natalie.
Okay, thank you. And then that would technically be.
We don't have to vote on that, right, Martha?
Well, we've heard it both ways. And
Okay.
so I think it's fine that we, it's just that, again, technically, if a motion and a second is made, I think it does mean that we're supposed to vote. So we should double check that, but in the meantime, it's not, I don't think it's that big of a deal that we just agree that we're tabling.
As long as we're all agreeing, it can't be that big a deal, right?
why don't we just do a quick voice vote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
JC, you
fine.
do a roll call?
And are we, what's the procedure here? Is the minute taker doing I think that's normally how it is. Was Iden doing the roll call last time? Because I'm
Yeah,
happy to do
she
that,
was.
JC, or you can.
She was, Martha.
Yeah, I think Adam was doing it.
Yeah, okay, so I'll do the roll call then. And I'm just gonna go in the participant list, so order. So I'm actually first, and I vote yes to table. Natalie Slee,
Yes.
Debbie Braun,
Yes.
Elaine Siegel,
Yes.
JC Herman.
Yes.
Okay. So back to you, JC.
So I guess I move to table the equity lens until Pat's here next week. Instead of,
I second.
Motion. You make a motion to table it.
Good. She said I moved to table it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I'll second. Really, this is like Saturday Night Live, you know that.
you start poking eyeballs.
Yeah, really. All right, I seconded it.
I'm sorry, JC moved to table, okay. So then we would be in discussion of that motion to table, and I just want to say that I know Pat FEM did say, you know, at least once, if not multiple times, that she was going to be sending us, you know, an actual written equity lens in terms of the steps or the procedure or whatever you want to call that. Does anyone know if that did get sent to us at some point?
I never got it, and I didn't
Right. But Debbie, you just said that she mentioned she had sent it, but that's why I'm double checking because I did
Well,
not
she
get
said it was in when she first discussed the REDI committee, but I don't know that we individually got it to look at.
She pulled it up in a
Oh,
she shared the screen once and let us see it, but I don't think she ever actually emailed it to us.
okay. That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that was in the December meetings.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just collectively try to see if anyone can find it in email. And if so, of course, share it with everybody else. And meanwhile, you know, somebody can, I'm happy to reach out to Pat and just say if she's up for it, you know, to send that to us. And then I also just wanted.
She's going to meet with JC tomorrow on Zoom.
Oh, okay. I missed that. I'm sorry.
So I don't think JC knew it either.
I didn't.
Okay, but she told me today she was going to reach out to meet with you tomorrow.
Awesome. I will do everything I can to be available when she's available.
Because when she said she just didn't think she could do it tonight, she said, but I will reach out to JC and meet with her.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I don't see it in my email.
Okay, I'm sorry, who seconded the motion to table discussion of the racial equity lens? JC made the motion.
I did. I seconded it.
Oh,
Natalie seconded. Okay, sorry. I am just struggling till I can engage and take the notes at the same time. So I can roll call vote everybody if we're ready on the tabling of that item.
I think so.
Okay. Sorry, I've got to switch back to the screen with the Zoom. Again, myself I'm first in the list. I vote yes on tabling. Natalie Salee.
Yes.
Debbie Braun.
Yes.
Elaine Siegel.
Yes.
JC Herman.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so for new business, you know, we had talked about doing something to acknowledge Black History Month. There's this really great video that is John Lewis's last letter out, read by Morgan Friedman. I want to say it's like 6 minutes or so. So I'm going to get that set up. Am I allowed to screen share? Natalie, if you could please give me screen sharing.
I'm doing it right now.
Thank you.
Okay, you should be good.
All right, we got to get through the commercial first.
How you doing?
Sorry. So I came across this through my kids' school. It was one of the things that they played for the kids. I thought it was really great.
JC, you might have to turn the volume on. I see at the bottom it's the speaker. Okay.
Hold on. What did I do here? Here we go. Hold on, I lost you all for a second. What happened?
Here is that essay,
okay.
read for us today by John Lewis's friend and admirer, Morgan Freeman. never ever forget the moment when it became so clear that he could easily have been me. In those days, fear constrained us like an imaginary prison, and troubling thoughts of potential brutality committed for no understandable reason were the bars. Though I was surrounded by two loving parents, plenty of brothers, sisters, and cousins, their love could not protect me from the unholy oppression with the soul of America.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you guys couldn't hear it. I tried to mute myself because my kids are in the background. Do you want me to start it over so you can hear the beginning, or are you good with where it's at?
I think we can go forward.
Yeah, okay.
I'm okay with you starting over.
Either way.
Okay, I'm going to start over because there's a beginning piece. I'm really sorry you missed. I thought was really powerful.
Yeah, at first I thought it didn't have sound, and then I remembered the Morgan Freeman thing. So yeah, I'd love to watch it from the beginning.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was my mistake. My lack
No
of
worries.
technology.
My time here has now come to an end. I want you to know that in the last days and hours of my life, you inspired me. You filled me with hope about the next chapter of the great American story when you used your power to make a difference in our society. Millions of people motivated simply by human compassion laid down the burdens of division. Around the country and the world, you set aside race, class, age, language, and nationality to demand respect for human dignity. That is why I had to visit Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington. Oh, I was admitted to the hospital the following day. I just had to see and feel it for myself that after many years of silent witness, the truth is still marching on. Emmett Till was my George Floyd. He was my Rayshard Brooks, Sandra Bland, and Breonna Taylor. He was 14 when he was killed, and I was only 15 years old at the time. I will never ever forget the moment when it became so clear that he could easily have been me. In those days, fear constrained us like an imaginary prison, and troubling thoughts of potential brutality committed for no understandable reason were the bars. Though I was surrounded by two loving parents, plenty of brothers, sisters, and cousins, their love could not protect me from the unholy oppression waiting just outside that family circle. Unchecked, unrestrained violence and government-sanctioned terror had the power to turn a simple stroll to the store for some Skittles or an innocent morning jog down a lonesome country road into a nightmare. If we are to survive as one unified nation, we must discover what so readily takes root in our hearts that could rob Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina of her brightest and best, shoot unwitting concert goers in Las Vegas, and choke to death the hopes and dreams of a gifted violinist like Elijah McClain. Like so many young people today, I was searching for a way out, or some might say a way in. And then I heard the voice of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on an old radio. He was talking about the philosophy and discipline of nonviolence. He said we are all complicit when we tolerate injustice. He said it is not enough to say it will get better by and by. He said each of us has a moral obligation to stand up, speak up, and speak out. When you see something that is not right, you must say something. You must do something. Democracy is not a state. It is an act. And each generation must do its part to help build what we call the beloved community, a nation and world society at peace with itself. Ordinary people with extraordinary vision can redeem the soul of America by getting in what I call good trouble, necessary trouble. Voting and participating in the democratic process are key. The vote is the most powerful nonviolent change agent you have in a democratic society. You must use it because it is not guaranteed. You can lose it. You must also study and learn the lessons of history because humanity has been involved in this soul-wrenching existential struggle for a very long time. People on every continent have stood in your shoes decades and centuries before you. The truth does not change. That's why the answers worked out long ago can help you find solutions to the challenges of our time. Continue to build union between movements stretching across the globe, because we must put away our willingness to profit from the exploitation of others. Though I may not be here with you, I urge you to answer the highest calling of your heart and stand up for what you truly believe. In my life, I have done all I can to demonstrate that the way of peace, the way of love and nonviolence is the more excellent way. Now it is your turn to let freedom ring. When historians pick up their pens to write the story of the 21st century, let them say that it was your generation who laid down the heavy burdens of hate at last, and that peace finally triumphed over violence, aggression, and war. So I say to you, walk with the wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide.
John Lewis gets tonight's last word through the voice of
I think it's a little embarrassing, given the state that we're in right now. We should be embarrassed. And not us, I mean us, meaning the whole country. What went on today with, with the decision about that woman, that QAnon, I can't even say her name, like, how far have we come, really? That
No, I
really
was,
good, Gracie. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, JC.
You're welcome. I have this really bad habit of like hanging out with my kids and then like looking at my phone and seeing something and then all of a sudden just being like, yeah, right. And then I have to explain to my kids, and to have this back and forth that we've had, like, we've made some progress and then we get this pullback. I can't remember where I came across it, but at some point somebody said, right, the more progress you make, the angrier they're going to get. Right? Mm-hmm. Like if we weren't making progress, people wouldn't be angry. And if people weren't angry, we wouldn't be making progress. It's an unfortunate tied together of the two. But I was really taken. I was taken by a lot of things. Because first of all, I'm watching this video with my kids, right? And I went to a school where my culture, my language weren't welcome. So to have my kids go to a school that is purposely and intentionally in every bit of their curriculum, making this a part of who my kids are outside of my house, I mean, I was just like in full tears. Yeah. And then to be able to explain to my kids, like, did you notice that like John Lewis heard Dr. Martin Luther King's words, right? Dr. Martin Luther King heard Gandhi's words, right? Like we can trace this back and we can push it forward. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you all because I thought it was really powerful. Those photos of him on, in Black Lives Matter Plaza, seeing his work being propelled forward. I just want to share.
I noticed that Stacey Abrams was in the crowd in one of those photos, and like that's exactly what you're talking about. Is like, she look at all the incredible things that she's done, and she will continue to do. And right. then you look at people like Amanda Gorman, who is just like this rising star because she's so brilliant right now. And it's
I want to get her to come talk to us at a board. What do you think?
I vote aye.
Okay, I'm going to try to do that.
We can figure that out.
Yeah. You never know. There was something interesting that happened last week that if you want to go on YouTube, I'm not a baseball fan at all. Neither is my husband. We're just not. But we watched the funeral of Hank Aaron. And my brother actually spoke at the funeral. That's why we watched it, because he was best friends with Hank Aaron and his lawyer. I think there was some really beautiful speeches made there. It might be worth taking a look at, on YouTube. Bill
That's good to
Clinton, as
know.
usual, made an incredible speech. He talks and you don't know where he's going, and then it all kind of comes to a,
I need to go back and watch that, Debbie. I turned it on. I missed your brother.
right.
I
I
didn't catch Bill Clinton, so I want to go back and watch it from the beginning.
Bill Clinton was excellent.
Yeah.
Everybody was.
Jimmy
but,
Carter made a video.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. Okay, so for the next agenda item is what we see the role of the committee and such. I say we table that again and wait for Pat, so we can get a better idea of what we're supposed to be doing and how we do it properly.
I think so. I mean, I would support that.
All right, so I move to table discussing what we're supposed to be doing, our purpose as a committee.
I can second that. Natalie.
Right.
Okay, I don't have the agenda in front of me because I've got my notes and the Zoom at the same time. Can somebody tell me specifically what that agenda item is?
Sorry, yes, it reads, what do we see this committee's role being?
Okay.
What do we see this committee doing moving forward?
Okay, sorry. So JC tabled it, and then was it Natalie seconded?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And is there any discussion or anything anyone wants to say before we roll call the vote of tabling that? The only thing I want to say is I think we should consider how many times we want to keep meeting without Dr. Effiam. And if so, if we all feel there are specific things we have on the agenda that we can cover, great. But if it mostly amounts to tabling things while we wait for Pat's guidance, we may want to we may want to consider, we'll see. And Debbie, if you don't mind checking with her, since it sounds like you're, regularly.
I will.
Okay.
I really thought she was going to come tonight, and she did too, but she just couldn't.
Well, and I'm glad she didn't. If she's not feeling up to it, I don't want her.
No, she can't overdo it for sure.
Right.
Well, our next meeting is 2 weeks from now, so hopefully that'll give her some time.
Right.
And she won't go grocery shopping during the day. Who knew? Grocery shopping.
Exhausting.
It is exhausting. So, yeah.
Okay, so
I agree with that, Martha. I think that we should probably check with her for a little while. I mean, until the committee gets on its own feet, I think we should have meetings with our consultant here.
Well, and she has a vision for,
Right.
and I think that there's a role for us to play also in defining what we think is, meaningful and valuable to the board
Right.
and advances the interests of the Park District. So, I think that they're both of those, functions. It seems to me that that it would be helpful to have better knowledge of what her vision is and how she sees it working, and then we can, within that context, we can contribute.
Right.
We want to go.
We have like a skeleton thing, then we can add and subtract. But I don't even understand that. I don't know if it's because I came late to the party but I don't really understand what the.
Well, I think we should be deferring to, as an initial matter to what her vision is, and and then develop from there. I don't think that we have to be glued to that, but we certainly, it's so valuable that we want that to be our starting point.
Exactly.
Do we need to do a roll call, or did we do that already?
We didn't get there yet. I was just listening to people discussing and taking notes.
Okay.
So are you guys ready to roll call vote the tabling then?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just add that I like what you said, Elaine, about how, Pat does have a vision and we obviously are very interested in getting that guidance. But that, we do play a role in defining what we're about as well. I think both of those things are very true, and work in Congress together because, we will eventually be without Pat's professional guidance at some point. And, many of us know what we've been through so far in the realm of, racial equity discussions concerning Ridgeville. We know the community well, we know each other well. I want us to feel some level of confidence. In terms of like deciding what we're about. But I think the earlier it is, the more we do need Pat. So
yeah, and I think we're not the only REDI committee that ever was. I mean, there is a way of having a REDI committee, and we need to do that first and take care of those things first, and then we can have all these other things come in or not come in. But I felt at the last meeting that we were really splintering off into just, lots of different discussions. And for me, it wasn't what I thought the committee was going to be. And I frankly thought it was kind of not a good use of our time, the way that it was handled. Not the subject wasn't, but just, I just would like more, structure to see what it is that we do or do want to include and why.
Right. And you know what, Debbie, that reminds me that we kind of talked to get a little more specific there about what we are and what we aren't. I remember that we talked about, are we just sitting here waiting for issues to come up and we're the entity that deals with those issues once they come up? Or are we, as a committee, considering and talking about and doing work all the while in the realm of, considering racial equity in the context of everything else that the Park District is doing, making sure that everything, new that gets considered or talked about is, that we apply a racial equity lens, blah, blah, blah. It's like, those are kind of two separate things, and we could do one or the other primarily, or we could, intentionally do both. And I'm very curious to hear what Pat Effiam has to say about that, because in my opinion, I absolutely think we should be doing both. But I don't know if she'll agree with that.
I don't think they're that different, Martha. I just think that we need a structure.
Well, I agree with that, but I do think that they're different because I'm trying to highlight the difference between this committee just being reactive to issues that are brought to it from the board or the community versus proactive, that we are out there thinking about things we can do, like JC's grant, if that's something that we are sort of getting behind and supporting. And, I don't know what role we would play, if any, besides just discussing it initially and supporting her applying, or if there would be more to it. But, as Kyron was talking about, it sounded like he had knowledge of plenty of studies that were done to show that, executive functioning skills are either, not as developed in kids of color, or that, that's definitely something that could be offered in schools. But I absolutely agree with you as well, Debbie, that it's definitely getting away from the center, at least, of like what we came together for, at the beginning. I don't necessarily think that means that it's completely inappropriate, but I think to answer that question, we'd kind of have to talk to Pat and talk amongst ourselves and really get more clear on what it is that we do or don't do, and all of that.
I mean,
and I think also that we have this tremendous resource potentially with Kyron, and I'd really like to know more, about what he brings to the Park District and what he can bring, to this committee, and what we can do to implement, some of those ideas. And
yeah, Pat had never even heard of him or knew anything about him. So
I haven't. I've just been letting her heal, so I haven't
of
made the
course,
connection. That's on my list. I just wanted to give her some.
I'm sure she appreciates that, but I'm just saying it. That's why the whole thing, because she was saying, so what went on at the meeting, and nothing connected, for her or for me telling her. So I thought, whoa, we gotta hone this in a little bit.
It's on YouTube if she wants to watch it.
I'm sure I'll call her right now. I'm sure tonight would be the night.
Tell her about the video we just saw as well.
Yeah,
The videos. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much for
yeah,
sharing.
that was great.
That's really wonderful.
Sorry.
Do we
I'm
roll
just
call that
catching
one
up.
now?
Yeah, definitely. I was just catching up on the notes, making sure everyone was done.
Oh,
talking
sorry.
about-
Thank you. I'm trying to make sure I trying to stay on task. Not my greatest strength.
Stop.
Okay.
You know, I
so,
think that. Go ahead.
Sorry, Elaine, were you saying something?
Oh, I was just going to say that I think that we can sometimes simplify some of the votes by just doing a voice vote of ayes, particularly
Yeah.
if we're all in agreement.
Especially when you're tabling something, right, Martha? Isn't that what we were told at the last board meeting?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure whether that was an official answer or not. I think we all definitely agreed in the meeting that when we're tabling, we don't even need to vote, period, let alone roll call. But it is, Elaine, just so you know why we do the roll call, or maybe you knew this already, that's part of the governor's new rules that relate to holding these meetings on Zoom versus in a room.
I
Is
see.
that we're supposed to make sure everybody's name. It's kind of like taking attendance at the beginning. It's just a way to make sure that on the recording there's clarity. So I think it's fine. I mean, to some extent, some of these things are. If we don't think there's a problem, and we also think it's highly unlikely anyone viewing this would have a problem, and it helps us with expediency. I think it's fine if we all agree that we're just going to table things by a consensus. So yeah, should we just go ahead and say have
Aye.
a vote? Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Right, so that was all in favor of tabling that agenda item. Okay,
Yes.
Unanimous.
yes. So that's back to you then, JC.
Okay, so the last item on the agenda is.
Aye.
Oh, sorry, Natalie, you were frozen for a bit.
Oh, did she just say aye?
She did.
Yeah.
I would. Okay. Natalie, can you hear us?
I can now.
Okay.
Everything was frozen for a minute.
You were, yes, I was confused.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last item is to discuss ways of honoring Black History Month. So I came up with a few ideas. One of the things that a friend of mine sent to me today that I sent to Natalie and Kyron, United Way is doing they're inviting people to sign up for an equity challenge. So you get an email weekly with like a discussion topic. And one of the things that I was really excited about this is it goes all the way to Juneteenth.
Oh, cool.
And each one is a different topic. I haven't done it yet. I believe you can discuss it with whoever you want, but it's essentially like a weekly guided. The first one was, like discussing your own personal racial identity, so it'll kind of walk you through. I thought that was really neat. So Natalie, I sent that to you and Kyron today. One of the other things that I wanted to bring up was I did one of the truth of racial healing circles in January. And so they are really pushing for this piece of like, put your money where your mouth is. And they had a list of recommended organizations in the city that are, let me pull them up here, that are run by Black youth. So there's the Chicago Freedom School is one of the ones that they're promoting. Good Kids Mad City, Healthy Hood, Increase the Peace, Logan Square Neighborhood Association, and the the Southeast Youth Alliance. You can find links at the transformshy.com website. Those are all organizations that they are promoting. I will also throw out, there's a really neat organization called Hello Baby in Woodlawn. It is the only free play space in the US. I volunteered there for a very short period of time when they first opened, as best as I could, trying to manage toddlers and school and all that sort of stuff. But they're an amazing organization that I think is well worth getting an enormous amount of funding, to be honest. I not only respect their mission, but the way that they are approaching families. I mean, they are literally just have their doors open and families can go in there for free play. They offer free yoga classes. They have like book drives and all that sort of stuff. They provide, sometimes they'll have like clothing or extra diapers in the entryway that families can get. So those were a few things that I wanted to mention. I also, oh no, I forgot the name of the book. Tiffany Haddish reads a book called, I believe it's I Love My Hair. I can't remember the author's name. I have to look it up. And it's on Netflix. And
I've seen it. It is great.
It's amazing.
It's really, really good. Yeah. Let's see, who is it? Her father does her hair or something. My granddaughter has the children's book.
I think it's the girl's mom.
Oh, it's her mom. Is it
brushing her hair?
Yeah,
and it's tangled, and as she's feeling the pain of the tangle, her mom leads into her and starts telling her why she's so lucky to have that hair, and they talk about all the different styles that they can have. And the
kid's like dying, it's hurting.
I know, and Natalie, that one I didn't send to you because I believe you have to have a Netflix. Like, I don't think it's not on YouTube. It's not something that everybody could access.
Yeah. I can still share information about it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll send that one to you too.
And all the links that you just mentioned. I don't know if you're reading from like an article or something, but
I've got everything off to the side here. I'll send you everything.
Okay. Yeah, I can post that stuff on Facebook.
Awesome. So those were some of my suggestions.
That's great.
Oh, that's great.
I think Kyron is also working on some posts throughout this month, highlighting different African-American artists and entrepreneurs that we'll be sharing on the website as well as on Facebook. He and I are also working on some content to update the equity page. Because the goal of that is really to be kind of a living web page that's, constantly changing. He might write a blog. We've talked about some different things. So once we have that kind of fleshed out, I will update the website, and I will also draw attention to that through social media so people know to check it out. And we will of course let you guys know about that too.
That is on YouTube, by the way. I Love My Hair.
Oh, it is? Oh, good.
Yeah.
I thought it was only on Netflix when I searched for it earlier.
It was earlier, but I don't know. It says I Love My Hair. And then there's a good book. I would be willing to buy it and donate it to Ridgeville for little kids,
I didn't mention that she had some book suggestions as well.
Oh, good.
It might be nice if when Kyron's listing, authors and artists and such, maybe local restaurants that are Black owned.
Yeah, I would like to include that. I would like to include that information on the website all the time. So if any of you know of any Black owned businesses in Evanston.
There is already on Facebook a group that tells you all the Black owned businesses in Evanston. It's sort of under that, what's her name, that does the businesses and restaurants in Evanston. She's always promoting something. And then every so often there's I think Kimberly Holmes has something to do with it, but she's not well right now. But when she is, I can ask her.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure on Facebook there is an ongoing list.
I'll look, Debbie, but next time you're in there, will you just send me an invitation?
Sure.
Cool.
Sure. If I can figure out how, I'll call you. You can walk me through it.
Call me.
I'm not familiar with the group with that focus. So Debbie, if you can invite me too, that would be great. Sure. I do know that there's already been a lot of work done to compile sort of like a database of Black owned businesses.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
And it's not on Facebook. Like, this is a separate list that was put together by someone, and I can't remember. I'm Googling it right now. There is also Black Biz Evanston ns.org. So that's like a consortium. And then, so I'll look into this too, because I know that there's a list, and every time somebody asks in the Facebook groups that I'm in, people always chime in and say, don't start a list. We already have a list going, and they link to it. So yeah, I'll make sure that I send that to you, Natalie.
Yeah, it's blackbizevanston-ns.org.
Is that the thing you were talking about too, Debbie?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know. Is that Facebook?
No, that's just its own website. It might
Oh.
have a presence on Facebook as well, and
Oh.
that's what I don't know if there's a group or if there's a page. And then Natalie, you might already know this, but this is also something, if we're like publicizing, that we can include, is that the city had done for a number of years in a row, and they're not doing it because of COVID, of course, but I'm sure they'll resume. I forget what it's called, but it's like
It's
a tour.
expo, right? For Black.
Well, I think it's like a tour, like it's a like a pub crawl type thing,
Oh.
where they go from business to business, and it's like they actually physically go to the businesses.
Oh, here it is. La Tour de Noir.
Yeah.
Biz Tour and Expo.
Yeah, and they did it for 3 or 4 or 5 years, something like that, and then
Yes.
this last one had to be canceled because of COVID, and I can't remember what time of year they do it, so they're probably going to have to cancel the next one as well. But they did have it going yearly for a while, and that would just be another way to connect with Black-owned businesses.
You know who's a big person in that, and she's a lovely person, is Jean Murphy.
Yeah, who owns Yo Fresh?
Yeah. She's a big person in this this tour. She was one of the, so we might be able to contact her too if for something. I don't know.
Yeah. I was just gonna say something too, and I forget what it was. No, it's gone.
Well, I will say I got some chocolates for my birthday from Jennifer's Edibles, and part of me wishes I did not know about that place. They were
really
so good.
That got broken into last night. I think last night.
That's what I heard.
I saw that. I saw her post the picture of the broken door, but I don't have any other details. Do you know if they know anything?
No, Ann Rainey told me though that it got broken into. I mean, it's just, it's so, I don't know. It's just so disheartening when things like that. Really, everybody's struggling. What? It's like taking catalytic converters. I mean, come on, leave people's stuff alone. Everybody's trying so hard to make it right now. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, I wonder if there will be, if she'll need any assistance. Sometimes people start a GoFundMe when something bad happens.
Right. I'm sure if she does, there will, because she's from a big family in Evanston, don't you know?
Yeah.
William Easton's sister, if anybody knows William. So that's a big, supportive family in Evanston.
I'm really sorry to hear that happened. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add in terms of acknowledging Black History Month?
We can also continue the conversation if we do meet 2 weeks from now. If Pat can join us, we can continue it then too.
Yeah. I offered today, I don't know if anybody else is comfortable with it, but I offered to help drive Black residents of Evanston to get their COVID shots, with 4 masks on and 2 people. But I talked to Pat about it because, she's also a pastor at a church. And I said, that it came up because I was talking to my brother in Atlanta, and he told me about this thing that his synagogue is doing. Okay. And what they're doing is they sent out a letter to everybody and said, if you're struggling with figuring out how to go on the computer and sign in for your shot or where you can get your vaccine or blah, 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 call the synagogue. And there are lots of young volunteers that will help you, walk you through the process on the computer. And so I mentioned that to Pat, and I said, I wonder if giving people rides would be a big thing. And she said it would if we could convince people that, and also when Evanston gets going again next week, I think they're supposed to get more vaccines, but we could keep that, if something like that happens, we could certainly, I would think, put that in our newsletter if anybody wants to volunteer, even to walk people through the registration process. you know, online,
Yeah.
so we can see if that develops into.
Yeah. If that develops and there's any information that I can share directly, just send it my way.
Yeah. And on that note about vaccines, can I say something? Is it getting a little bit off the? I'd like to apologize for last week or the last meeting. I had the shot that afternoon and I had a small headache. And as we were sitting here through the meeting, my head was getting worse and worse and worse. And so I'd like to apologize for any irrational behavior that I might have. And I'd like to say, Elaine, definitely have it in a medical place because I had a 3-day horrendous reaction.
Is
And
that
I
what-
don't, and
yeah.
I don't usually, you know, I had fever, I had chills, I had aches. I mean, I'd still take it. Don't get me
Right,
wrong.
sure.
But then that was the first one, and they say usually you don't get it from the first one. So I would just encourage you again to
Yeah.
follow your.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. I thought about you. I thought, oh man.
Yeah, I don't need to go into anaphylactic shock in the middle
No,
of
it's not
Walgreens.
fun, especially during the pandemic. It's no fun, you know.
That's right. Oh, the last time that I had that reaction, it was so much fun.
Yeah, I
In
can
a
only
non-pandemic situation, it's great.
I can only imagine.
Oh my goodness.
So I just wanted to share that and make sure Elaine.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mhm.
What a misery to go through that. But they say that that's good. It indicates that you have strong immunity.
I called my doctor because I thought maybe I just have the flu. I mean, that happens too, right? I could have the flu, but she said no. And she also said that people who are having reactions, the more reaction you have, they tend to think the stronger your immune system is because it's fighting the. So I have a strong immune system, but a really bad headache. So there you go.
Well, they also say not to be taking, ibuprofen or what
Do
have you,
not.
because it weakens.
Right. It weakens the effect of the.
Yeah.
You can take it after, but don't take it as a prophylactic before,
Yeah.
which I never thought of anyway. But yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so JC, I think we've executed that agenda. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I just want to point out that in terms of Black History Month stuff, February goes by fast. So if we're meeting on the 18th, we're 3/4 of the way almost through the month. But as many people say, and I agree with this, it's not like we can only celebrate Black history in February. So we could always have something kind of towards the end of the month if we get clear on what we want to do or whatever. And you know what I mean? Kind of do that engagement, whatever it ends up looking at like at any time. It might even be kind of cool to kind of celebrate into March too, or something like that,
I'll be doing things anyway. But if you guys have specific things that you would like me to share, just email it to me.
Yeah, and actually I meant to ask Natalie, I'm sure you have you have a book every month, right? For the Ridgeville readers. So is there a Black History Month book?
Not anymore.
Oh, we're not doing it?
I am the only Ridgeville reader. So
oh goodness. I've been meaning to join for so long. I'll join.
Log in every month to have a discussion with myself. So I let it go.
Well, if you're interested in resurrecting it, I always hear people saying that they want a book club, but maybe those people lack follow through. I don't know.
Or a lot of people are in book clubs like I am. So
yeah, I had a nice group of folks that would come when I first started it. There were like maybe 3 or 4 women that would join me, but with the pandemic and stuff, just everybody's had so much going on, and so I may have had 1 or 2 people show up all year last year.
So much and yet nothing going on.
But I read a lot. I did a lot of reading.
So it's the pandemic, you think, that kind of killed it?
I think so, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy for us to pick any time of the year. So I would still like to do it. if there's ever a book that we as a REDI committee decide collectively that we would like to read together, we can read it, and like 2 months later, we can give ourselves more time. Do an open book discussion on it that the community can join us for. So I'm happy to do that. I'm not assigning a book a month anymore because I'm sad.
Well, maybe you should put a book like 50 Shades of Grey on there, and then people will
Yeah.
talking for children. And then we'll have a big discussion.
I'm always game for that, but
Hey,
you know.
do we want to have something on the website formally acknowledging Black History Month? I've thrown that out. I saw a couple of other organizations doing something like that. So just that there's a place on the website that says something like, the Ridgeville Park District or the REDI Committee or, whomever, celebrates Black History Month and recognizes Black Lives Matter, something like that.
I included that in our newsletter, and that's what Kyron and I are working on.
Great. Okay.
Well, and that reminds me that I think, doesn't our new website allow for us to sort of have like one pop-up message when you first get there or something?
Yeah.
And what do we have currently on there? I haven't visited the site super recently.
I don't have anything.
Okay. If there's a way to easily incorporate something just so that that's the first thing people see, that it's not much. It would just be saying, that we're celebrating or that we're, honoring Black history at Ridgeville. But it would be maybe better to have more substance to it than just that. But if we want to, if we're going to have something on the REDI page, that pop up on the main page of the site could sort of help draw attention to it, perhaps. So.
Yeah, I can do that as soon as I get something up there.
Yeah.
Kyron's working on that this weekend. I think he's sending me some content for Sunday night.
Okay. And you know what? I actually, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think those messages are valuable, and to get them across, in large ways, small ways, so that it's repeated and it really shows the commitment of the Park District and the community to the issues. I don't think that it has to be. It doesn't have to be a full proclamation in order to have value.
Yeah, I agree, Elaine. I thank you for saying that. I just, as the words come out of my mouth, that we would say, that we're celebrating or that we're honoring Black history, however we word it, right. There's a part of me that feels like that's not enough. You know what I mean? That's not, you don't just.
What's the start? It's not the,
right.
It's not a conclusion.
Yes, exactly. I also, just changing gears real fast here, I wanted to see if anybody has some input on the Open Meetings Act and how that affects our ability to converse through email the way that we, historically have been as a group previous to sort of opening our meetings officially. The way we manifest OMA as a board, for instance, there's 5 of us on the board. No more than 2 at a time can talk to each other, about a business relating to board business, whether that's in email or in person or over the phone. You can't meet with 3 or more unless it is an official open meeting. So where are we at with that as a committee? I mean, obviously our meetings are now open and we're posting with the required notice per the OMA, but in terms of communication that happens outside of our open meetings, is it the same thing, Natalie? Or are we kind of feeling like we should not email each other as a group?
Well, I think our legal counsel's advice on this is different than kind of what we're adhering to by offering open meetings, if that makes sense. I think he would say it's fine, it doesn't matter because we're not an official. That's his stance on it. So like, but that being said, we are meeting publicly. We are following. We're posting the agenda 48 hours in advance, all of that. So I would say if we're going to do that, then we need to fully do that and commit to it. And then just say no more than 3 of us in an email, the same the board does.
You have to be careful too that you don't, have a daisy chain of emails that constitutes an open meeting. I I've always had the luxury of functioning where there was an official parliamentarian that was taking care of things, so I'm not on top of it, but I can find out the answer to that.
And Pat Effiam knows those answers too, because she has.
Right. Well, part of
many.
part of the answer is, Debbie, as you know, with our board, it's pretty black and white, like who's a part of the board. And so in our committee, is Pat Effiam technically a member, and you know what I mean? So then, like, what's our total count, and are we then going by the definition of a quorum, and what is that? Because it's,
We can ask her that.
Yeah.
She-
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Pat has said that she is not a committee member. She's a
Okay.
consultant. So I
Okay.
think there's
Kieran wouldn't be either. Kieran wouldn't be either. We could email him and talk to him. He wouldn't be an actual, right?
Well,
Karen?
currently, yeah, but
not currently.
Yeah.
I
Right.
believe that topics, and I'm wary of putting this out here as anything more than my impression, but I believe that topics for agenda discussion certainly can be shared, in the way that we have. I've always kind of looked at that to see what it is that we're saying. If we're going to say, well, we're going to talk about topics, here's a proposal, there's a proposal. For example, a larger organization like Board of Education will have out, they'll put out a whole packet in advance of a meeting of materials for discussion. That's perfectly fine. That's legitimate. And so I tend to think that, the kinds of discussions that we've had are appropriate, but I don't know the answer to that. And I like I've said before, I think we should be very scrupulous about adhering to the Open Meetings Act. I think that that's what the statute calls for, and that's what
We
we
don't
should.
want trouble down the road.
I think so too. And I think, as Natalie said, it's kind of like we're either doing it or we're not. And even if our legal counsel would have a little bit more flexibility with this, it doesn't mean that we have to be flexible with it. Also, as Elaine just said, I mean, it's my understanding that with the OMA, if you're just talking logistics or you're proposing something for a future agenda, those kinds of things, I think those can be discussed. But it's not that we can engage, on a topic in a discussion way that would be best done at a meeting. We can't do that in email. So, but knowing how many of us can talk to each other, it would be helpful. And also, if Pat doesn't count, and that's great, then it could be Debbie, me, and Pat on an email, or me, Pat, and Natalie on an email. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we can kind of come back next time, hopefully with some clarity from Pat and anyone else who has more.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you can't get around that restriction by having one email with 3 people and then you forward it to somebody else, and you can't do that. That's
Well, I mean,
It can come from an office person.
through me because I'm the corporate secretary. So since JC is technically the chair who manages the agenda, it's like if she sends the agenda out to everybody, which she can do as the chair, if I have something to say about it, I need to just respond to her directly and not reply all, which is something that I need to remember to do because I've been replying all to you. But so that's how the board communicates about agendas, is that they email me and then I take care of it on my end, if that makes sense. And that seems to be the way we've been advised to manage it.
But we don't really have anybody here that's in your position.
JC.
Okay, but then it would mean that Martha could do it as president of the board.
What do you mean do it? What do
I
you
mean, that you could send out, things like Natalie does.
Well, this is getting kind of confusing because it's like Natalie is a committee member, but when it comes to the board, she's
Right.
not on the board. She's the, and then I am a committee member, but I'm also the president of the board, so I think we do need some clarity as to, just how those rules apply to us as a group, as specifically if there are any market differences in how they apply to us as a committee versus how we're all used to them applying to us as a board. When I say how we're all used to it, I basically mean Natalie, me, and Debbie. We have the most familiarity with the board context of the OMA applications, So yeah, I didn't expect that we would answer all the questions tonight. I just wanted to bring it up and kind of put it out there that we just have to kind of figure out, we have to get clear on, the procedures there. So
I'll get them on the agenda for next time.
okay, yeah, that would be great. And JC, if you do end up following up with Pat Effiam directly, that would be a good question to ask her. Not that she's the be all end all with parliamentary, with Robert's rules, but she does know a lot about it. So she might have.
And she'll find out if she doesn't know, because she's done that for us before the board.
Right. We also can ask Charles, Natalie, perhaps, because, even though we know he feels we don't have to be following, it's
I wouldn't ask Charles. He's going to end up charging us. Let's see if we can find a different way to do it first.
Yeah. Well, we have a board meeting coming up, so we could also ask him at the board meeting.
JC, you can ask him during your report.
Oh, can I?
Yeah. It's your time.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's a great time.
Okay, I'll put that in there.
Actually, JC, if you don't mind, will you send me an email saying that you want to put that on there? So then I will add it to the agenda that I send out on Monday to everybody so Charles can prepare.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you want to make that like a sub point of the REDI committee update or something? Yeah.
And so just to make sure I'm asking all the questions we want to know about the quorum and communication, the email communication, how many people can be on an email?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Natalie, I'll get you that email. Right, tomorrow's okay. Like, what day is it? What day is it?
I sent you the tentative agenda today, so
Yeah,
I just need edits and addition by Monday at noon.
Okay, I'll get it to you tomorrow. I'd like it off my to-do list. Okay. Is there anything else?
Not that I can think of.
Can I move to adjourn? Yeah. I move to adjourn, Natalie.
I
second it, JC.
Go ahead.
I keep forgetting that I'm taking minutes. So sorry. Natalie moved to adjourn. And I'm sorry, who seconded?
JC seconded.
Okay.
And Elaine's microphone's off.
Okay. Well, we're just going to go ahead and I just want to point out, though, when Natalie was frozen and her eye for the verbal vote came through like way delayed, that's actually an example of why we are supposed to roll call so that everyone gets their individual chance to be heard in the vote. So just for the record, I'm not opposed to going ahead with verbal votes for things that aren't action based. So in on that note, all in favor of adjourning.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Be careful. It's dangerous out there.
Yeah, it's slippery.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Well,
careful.
it's slushy. It's slushy now, and then it was when I got home, and it's going to turn to ice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yay.
Wonderful. See you all.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.